So Juliette, just come out of London Fashion Week, so finally get a little bit of a break. And you've had a busy one because you were working on the Preen show, and you've worked with them for 16 years. Tell me a bit about your role with them. It's amazing. I can't believe it's 16 years.
Yeah, it's fantastic actually. I got asked to work with them like at the turn of the last century, just before.
I love that. It sounds like you talk about the Renaissance.
I know. And in those days, were really tight, like little shows.
Yeah.
I can't even remember if they were on schedule or off schedule. I can't remember. But then we just had to come up with innovative ways of making it exciting. And I remember one show, which is a bit awkward actually. We just hung ordinary household light bulbs, hundreds, on black wires, and pulled them together so as they were bunched and tangled all the way around the catwalk, which was in a square. And yeah, Liberty Ross actually opened that show. Yeah, but from then, and then growing as they grew, and then when they went to New York a few years ago, we showed there for like 6 years, I think. That I went over there and just ran it from New York and got the production together there. And I've really loved the way it's evolved from being sort of the little show. We did one show where it was hundreds of bird cages at the end, and then the light shone through, and it was quite a sort of preen.
Yeah.
You know, in a very literal sense,
yeah, of course.
Of it, with, you know, its association to what birds do, perhaps. And the way that their collections have evolved, because now they do 6 a year.
Yeah.
But I generally just do the main shows, and then if they show in another country, like China, for instance, I'll just give them the map of what we needed and what we had for that specific show.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting going with them. I used to do a lot more other shows, you know, and I'd sometimes do 4 of a weekend, like Joe Casey Halford one season. I've done Gareth Pugh before, just one show for him. I did quite a few for Emma Cook, who I loved working with as well.
Tell me a little bit about the role of doing sort of show production, being a show producer, because I don't think it's something that perhaps our audience would know that much about. How does it sort of, because you must get these very close relationships with designers, but you kind of, I imagine you have to be kind of the yes person, the person that's kind of getting it all together and staying very calm.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm really lucky with Justin and Thea is that, you know, we share similar aesthetics.
Yeah.
But with us and for them, it's basically about finding a venue where we can, you know, whether the venue we always change and make it their own, but it's finding a venue that suits their aesthetic, which is quite futuristic at times, and finding those kind of, so we've used a lot of Norman Foster's buildings or at the Natural History Museum. So for me, it's searching for that location and getting a good place, you know, whether it was the Helmet, you know, the City Hall, whether, you know, and trying to fit such a dramatic overhaul of the space in a massively short turnaround time. Because we generally pick places where one can only get in at 6 o'clock the night before. And then
it doesn't give you a lot of time, does it?
No, not at all. And so it's from there, and then working out where one can get, you know, after showing in New York, and like they have different systems for sort of, you know, their seating, for instance, really simple things of, you know, if you're not going to build your own banquettes, makes it sound quite basic, but like it literally sometimes is from the seating to the cabling to the lighting, and then from there is also the, you know, the creation of the light patterns and the light sources, whether you're building an light installation. You know, we've had everything from wanting the girls to come out a bit like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you know, when they're exiting the spaceship. So as you can't actually, the light is so bright and so misty that you can't see the physical form properly, and it's kind of slightly mutated. And we were the first people to use, you know, HMI lighting in shows in London anyway. In fact, actually everywhere, because it was a very different thing. It was very much using the sort of theatre lighting, and if you wanted daylight, you'd just gel it up. But using film lighting for the shows, which gave you that really clean sort of look, and also always taking care of the under the chin shadow. Some people don't mind it. I remember the first show we did in New York, he was an enormously successful and famous lighting designer, but the notice of the fact is below the knee it looked like they were wearing tights, and it was a spring-summer collection because, you know, the lighting wasn't so even. It was the person that we'd been given, and we went on to work with them for later shows, and got fantastic results once we all got on the same page, because for us, and then integrated some theatre lighting that was gelled to look like it was HMI, like daylight
I do
lighting.
think it's the kind of stuff that people don't realise goes into a show. They don't realise how complex it is, and I wonder, has it got even more complex kind of now we have so much kind of fashion imagery online and so much sort of focus on kind of immediate catwalk imagery, because you really have to think about how that show is going to be presented for kind of weeks to come.
Yeah, I mean with Preen, we're quite, you know, their stuff is really clean and beautiful and sort of very sort of got that science fiction sort of space agey feel, but you know we haven't, and they're very conscious of presenting their collection as a whole in full, and because of the people who buy, you know, a lot of it is for, you know, women like me who work and who work in jobs and have to interact, so it kind of works. It can be edgy stuff, so it's like presenting it in a way that's applicable to that person. I mean, thought that the fact that it was we showed in King's Cross and Pancras this season, you know, really sort of showed that there's a commuter, you know, aspect.
Yeah, it's a woman on the move. She's not just kind of... Yeah.
And it's sort of King's Cross, it's international. It has, you know, it covered that whole, you know, the growth as well from being a girl to a woman, and also from a woman being, you know, can feel quite girly too. And it gives that a dynamic to it, and it's about encompassing all of that and also making sure people feel comfortable, but comfortable not to the point, you know, edgy, but you know that there's a certain level. I mean, it was really cold. I don't know why I'm even saying it's cold. I mean, we've done shows where we've had so many complaints that the light was so bright that they felt like they got retina burn, which, you know, for the type of thing is quite, you know, punk rock compared to, you know, it's not, they're not, you know, of a stage where they, you know, they do a whole theatre production thing, which we could do. It's just, it's not been where we've gone in how they express their collection and their shows. And I think within the environment, it gives us a, you know, making it our own. Whether like in City Hall, we rebuilt the floor and then built pulled up the blind so that it showed the whole of the River Thames. I think the thing is they're a British brand, and for them it's really important to retain that. And for years, in fact, until really recently, everything was made in the UK. So it was quite a, you know, I never thought that was played on enough, you know, for the fact that, you know, culturally this is a brand that has really grown and blossomed and bloomed and continues to be relevant. I know Alexander McQueen, you know, was a great fan of theirs, and in fact in his article in Visionaire of the 10 designers you admire most in the world, Preen was one of them, because he felt that they had really, they haven't got backing, you know, they are, you know, they are independent, and you know, we call them absolutely mad for it. But you know, it's also because of so much of their time is spent on creativity and, you know, trying to keep going.
But that puts so much pressure on the show, doesn't it? Because as you say, you know, there's so many different things that you need to communicate in the show. It's not just that season, it is, as you say, kind of the ethos of the brand and the general kind of priorities of that brand and who their woman is. It's, you know, I think people don't realise often the complex levels of messaging that you need to get across in a show.
No, exactly. And I also think it's really, you know, the financial element of it, the budget too, it's really, you know, they show on really, really constricted budgets. I don't know of other shows in London that, you know, have that kind of audience and etc. who could possibly pull it off on that kind of.
So how do you go about doing it? Tell me about some of the sort of the challenges or the way you went about doing this season.
The challenges, I know that they wanted to have a girl per look this season, which obviously you know, an expense. And so therefore we had a reduced production budget. But we worked, you know, where we could have had 3 lights, we put 1 in. Actually, the show was the lighting was phenomenal. And I think I know other people do use too, but using cinematographers from a film background has really helped with getting that whole look and feel, because it's it's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no time at all, you know. And they've always been into that sort of science fiction kind of you know, the hyper real daylight look, and it was quite funny it being so dark romance. It was sort of quite a gothy collection for them, but it was quite nice that the location was sort of quite Gattaca, and that we made it sort of futuristic. I mean, it's it's a brand new tunnel, so which is hence probably why we could get it.
Show that,
really, you know, it was just quite interesting, but yeah. They're incredibly wonderful people to work with. I love their inspiration.
It must be, do you have so many ideas of things you want to do?
Yeah.
I can imagine it gets like that. You've got this kind of bank of things that you want to do with them.
Yeah. I mean, now that, you know, because I'm working a lot in AR and VR, and it's just working out how, it's hard because obviously, you know, there's a show and there's a convention to all of that, but I've got, you know, having those ideas to bring, you know, imagine like being able to, you know, have it happen all in front of you, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite an exciting thing for me.
Yeah, you must think a lot about how shows are going to change sort of as things move forward.
I mean, even now, I mean, they had a live feed out where you could buy the collection sort of as at that moment sort of thing, or certain pieces from the collection.
Yeah, pre-order and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is amazing. But I love London fashion. You know, it's one of the most inspiring things I've ever, you know, from Body Map to, you know, to Pan to, you know, my favourites are probably them, to Gareth, to Westwood.
Yeah, there's so much here,
you know, it's just, I just absolutely adore what they're doing. I think it's invigorating and inspiring to see it. We went down to the new guys down at, the new gen down at Somerset House as well. I think because we helped with one of the films for that, which is with Ray Nardor, who obviously you guys know really well, who we love and work with a lot. And it's really great to be able to do something to contribute in some way, you know.
That is what's nice about London. It's interesting just thinking about that 16-year relationship you have with the guys at Preen. Is it's such a collaborative city. Like, people do help each other out, don't they? And everyone works together, and there's such a sense of kind of everyone trying to make it as good as it can be. Yeah,
exactly. And I think also with Justin and Thea, they're so gracious and thankful, you know, and they've been very generous with me. I mean, they've dressed me. I mean, I don't know what I'd have done without them. I would have not even
half the wardrobe.
I'd have 1% of the wardrobe probably.
Yeah.
And it's funny because on each different person you can wear it in a totally different way. What looks like it's a sort of, I don't know, a lady who lunches on, you know, on me looks like some sort of, you know, grunt dirge queen.
Yeah, someone else. But that's what makes a great designer, isn't it? That kind of versatility.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, congrats on a beautiful show.
Oh, thank you, darling.